Dear Pat Nation, it's just about time. Yeah, we're back. You know it's Dear Pat's Nation. Nation. Yeah. It's Dear Pat's Nation. Nation. Come on. Yeah, it's Dear Pat's Nation. And the show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, what's going on? Dear Pat's Nation, it's your boy Toronto's pride and joy, Mr. Ray Rout. And of course, I'm with my man, Boston's resident angry nerd, Mr. Producer Mike. As you all are watching this on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is 8 p.m. Eastern, I don't know what time. It's 8 p.m. in the Dominican Republic, and I will probably just be finishing up my dinner, ordering my after dinner cerveza. I am leaving on Sunday, which was yesterday when you see this, to head off to the Dominican Republic. Mike and I are doing this a day early. Mike, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
You know, Mike, I'm in a little bit of a predicament, a little bit of a worry right now.
What's going on?
You know those pre-packaged like sausages? You ever see them like cured? Like they come like in like they're like cured smoked meat, and they're you can buy them like at a gas station and stuff. You ever seen them? Like
like a summer sausage or something like that.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
get them all the time. Nice little snack on the road, right? So I bought one tonight, ate one, bought two, ate one in the car, brought one home to eat later.
Okay.
Got home and realized that the one I had in my hand and the one that I ate expired in November.
Oh, yikes.
Well, it was best before November. Not expired, best before.
Okay. I
so
mean,
according
it's a cured meat, yeah.
Yeah, so according to ChatGPT, you know, I should be okay. But I leave like in less than 48 hours. I will be in the Dominican Republic. I feel nauseous right now, but I think that that's psychological.
Yeah.
Because it's coming in waves of when I don't think about it, I'm fine. And then when I think about it, I'm nauseous. I'm very like hot tonight too. You know what I mean? But that started right after I got out of the hot shower. You ever taken a hot shower and like not been able to cool down after a hot shower?
Yeah, you almost get like a motion sickness, heat sickness type of
I'm
thing.
like sweaty now. I sweat in the shower or the hot water, and like I've never really cooled down. Plus it's warm in my house. It's 22 degrees, usually about 21 and a half, and it was a warmer day today. Anyways, I'm not doing well, Mike.
Yeah, that's rough for a Friday night.
Yeah. Rough for a Friday night. My wife is away for the evening.
Okay.
Hence why you and I have time to sit down and do this. And I'm supposed to be washing and packing my clothes. And I'm sitting here having full ass conversations with ChatGPT, wondering if I'm going to have food poisoning or not.
Well, if you want my medical opinion, you could be fine. You may die. You might have botulism. You might want to get checked for tapeworm. So.
I appreciate you, Mike. I appreciate you. So the next 24 to 48 hours will be a touch and go watch for myself.
Yeah.
I leave at 7. Like my flight takes off at 7 a.m. on Sunday. So it's not even like that's like 48 hours from now. It's less than 48 hours.
That's crazy.
And that means like I could be in the midst of whatever parasites are growing in my stomach right now.
Oh man. If something happens there, just don't, get drunk and talk about Sony Michel on a beach.
No draft, buddy. No draft this week. Look, we're going to talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Things could happen on the weekend. It is what it is, people. Just enjoy the conversation.
Yeah. We're going to talk about it. We're going to fill a little something here.
Okay, so I wrote a couple of pieces this week. Didn't post them. Decided they're better as video vlogs that I'll just read out and then put on the internet.
React to your reaction.
Correct. So I'm going to read the vlog that I wrote.
Yep.
And then I have a series of questions to follow up with you with, Mike.
Okay.
So what I want to talk about which was actually you want to talk about because you sent in this idea, was can the Patriots spend their way back to a Super Bowl? Here's what I said, Michael. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
The 2026 NFL offseason is here, and the New England Patriots have cash to spend. Projections put their salary cap space roughly between $33 and $43 million, depending on how they handle restructures and extensions, giving them flexibility for free agency this March. So what does that mean for the biggest roster needs? The Patriots made a surprise run to Super Bowl 60, but were exposed in a few key areas. The pass rush needs to be better if they want to get after the quarterback consistently. Keeping Drake Maye upright with a better offensive line is crucial.
Yep.
And adding a true second or third scoring receiver would make this offense that much more dangerous. One potential free agent who could move the needle is edge rusher Trey Hendrickson. Hendrickson is expected to be one of the premier defensive players available and could command in the neighborhood of $25 to $30 million this year. Mm-hmm. Signing a player like that would send a message that New England is serious about competing. Beyond that, investing in a veteran offensive tackle that could cost another $10 to $15 million, and a reliable wide receiver that could be between $8 and $18 million a year. That's significant, but still manageable if the owner, Robert Kraft, and the front office are strategic. Some positions can be addressed with the draft, but others demand veteran help. Elite pass rushers and reliable offensive tackles often take time to develop. And when you are in win-now mode with a young MVP caliber quarterback, proven free agents have value. Robert Kraft's history shows that he's willing to spend on free agency when the time is right. New England led the league in free agent commitments in 2025, showing that the franchise isn't afraid to open the checkbook when the roster is trending upward. But money isn't everything. There are cap limits and future expectations to consider and future extensions. The question Patriot fans are left with this winter, spring: will Robert Kraft allow financial moves needed to keep this team in Super Bowl contention? The facts suggest that he might, but between cap constraints and balancing the future, the decision wouldn't be straightforward. So, Mike, let me ask you this question.
Sure.
Do you believe that Robert Kraft will open up his wallet again in 2026? Do you think the Patriots' unexpected run to the Super Bowl motivated him more to spend the money?
So I'll set the table for this a little bit in the sense that the Patriots are known as kind of a cash to cap team, and Greg Bedard had a great thing where he kind of broke down their spending over the last 3 years earlier this week. So I'm not going to rehash it completely. But basically, the summary is they view the football team very much as a business. They will say you have $600 million to spend over the next 3 years. Try to stay within that budget. So if you go over 1 year, that's fine. You just need to make it up in the next year. Now, for what Ray has brought up, I will say the circumstances dictate something different. Because this team is way ahead of schedule. This team is where it probably should have been going into this year. And I would believe if you look prior to Bill Belichick, in the Drew Bledsoe era, the Krafts were known for opening up the checkbook to almost a reckless degree. I hope, and I do believe that they're going to say our young quarterback needs reinforcement, and they will open up the checkbook for that reason.
So, Mike, I'm on the same page as you. I do believe that Robert Kraft will open up that wallet again in 2026. And I believe that this Patriots' unexpected run to the Super Bowl absolutely motivates him to spend more money. Because for a guy like Kraft, Robert Kraft is a fan before he's an owner. And when you get that close to another championship, it changes everything. It changes the conversation.
Yeah.
It proves the roster isn't far off and that a key few additions could put this team over the top and have them competing for another Super Bowl. And Robert Kraft has always cared about two things, winning and his legacy. And seeing this team compete on the biggest stage again likely reminded him what's possible. Because they're not rebuilding this team, they're reinforcing this team.
Correct.
And with a real window and momentum on the Patriots side right now, I believe that he will view spending not as a risk, but as an investment in getting another banner and putting number 7 to those rafters.
Yeah, and one little piece to this too that talks about or talks to your point of his legacy. When you're on the verge of getting in the Hall of Fame, being in the conversation constantly and obviously in a positive light, it's not that the Patriots are clowns like they were the last couple of years, only helps Robert Kraft's case for getting into the Hall of Fame. And he's been like a hair short every year. So continuing to be in that conversation, I think, is borderline desperate for him. Like he wants this team to be good for that reason.
So from your perspective, from everything we've seen publicly, do you believe that Robert Kraft and the Patriots front office, and let's include Mike Vrabel, are aligned in how they want to build this roster? Because we've seen, especially at the end of the Bill Belichick era in New England, they weren't aligned. Do you believe that this regime is aligned?
Oh, I think completely. I think Vrabel is towing all these boats in the same direction. Completely. I mean, look at what they started this year. They overhauled, I think it was like, let's call it like 15 spots on each side of the ball, something crazy. You know, so I think it's Mike Vrabel's vision. I think they're executing well. I think there is an element of the Bill Belichick philosophy in there where they're kind of, you know, let's find a couple reclamation projects. They did that this year with especially some of the defensive players, Matt Collins, Stephon Diggs. So you'll probably see some of that. They'll probably send some of the guys that need to get paid, you know, like Caleb on Chason may not find a contract here, but they'll go, okay, we'll find the next one, or we'll upgrade that position because it wasn't enough.
From what we've seen publicly, it does seem like Robert Kraft and the Patriots front office are more aligned than they were during the end of the Belichick era. And I hate when you and I agree with each other like this so much, right?
Yeah.
Like, where's the controversy?
Yeah, makes it tough.
When you think about the Belichick era, under Belichick, he was the coach and the de facto general manager. And he had near or total control over personnel decisions, which I believe over time led to disagreements with Kraft about the roster direction, about the draft strategy.
Yep.
And then it got even worse as results began to decline in those final years. The current structure of the Patriots, well, now you have an executive, a vice president of player personnel, and you have the head coach, and they're both reporting directly to ownership, meaning that I think Kraft has more say and there's less unilateral control by one person like there was under Belichick. And that structural change of this team, I believe, is a clear effort to create more alignment between ownership and the front office and how to build this roster going forward. Because I do think that there are examples out there, and we've seen them or we heard the rumors of them, that at the end of the Belichick era, Robert Kraft was maybe forcing some decisions that Belichick didn't agree with. And I think that all actually stemmed from Bill Belichick forcing Kraft's hand to let Tom Brady walk away.
Yeah, I think this is a great example of the Krafts saw how a lack of diversity in opinion and input negatively affected the team. So they've essentially created this, I don't want to call it a tiered system, but it's definitely checks and balances, right? You have input now from Josh McDaniels, clearly. You have input from Elliot Wolf. You have input from Mike Vrabel and Ryan Cowden. And the thing I like is Vrabel ultimately has the say, like if it comes down to like, we really have to have this. But I think you saw this with Travion Henderson this year. You know, they kind of let opened a window into what happened there. There was some debate. They took Travion. I think they had one or two other players on their board, and you know, it just goes to show you when you have basically on the opposite hand, Bill Belichick going, yeah, we're going to pick N'Keal Harry because I know the coach there, and he says he's better than AJ Brown. When all the scouts are going, Bill, we kind of don't know about that, but okay, and he's just going to overrule them, creates an issue, So
we could have had DK.
Could have had DK. Could have had Debo. Go down.
I don't think there was anybody more hurt by not becoming a New England Patriot than Debo Samuel.
AJ Brown.
Or was it AJ Brown who was upset?
Yeah, AJ Brown was the big Patriots fan. He said he cried when the Patriots didn't draft him.
Isn't he the one who flexed that he got ahead as a signed Julian Edelman jersey? Was that AJ Brown as well?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I think we've seen too much of that in the Belichick era. But what's funny is winning kind of masks all of that stuff. And the rumors don't really get out because why would you want to show dysfunction inside of a winning culture? Losing the Super Bowl to the Philadelphia Eagles and the fallout with the Malcolm Butler piece, that kind of opened that floodgate. And then Seth Wickersham comes out with that scathing piece about how Belichick wanted to keep Garoppolo, and Robert Kraft basically strong-armed Belichick and said, Tom Brady's my son and he's not going anywhere. But so it's funny because I go back to talking about the Travion Henderson draft pick. They get a little bit of an inside window that shows internal debate about whether you take this guy or not, and who wants him, who doesn't want him, what other players are available.
Right.
But they go to the Super Bowl, and that's a non-story in the offseason. Now, Travion Henderson had a horrible postseason, and I love Trey's my guy. Everybody knows Trey's my guy. The Ohio State University.
Yeah.
But he had a horrible postseason.
Yeah.
If they get knocked out in the divisional round against the Chargers, you and I maybe having a completely different conversation about picking Travion Henderson when player A, player B, player C are available. Mike, one thing that we do not talk about enough as Patriot fans, and it's probably mainly because it's not a big deal, but I think it's a dynamic we don't talk about. Do you think that these roster, because ultimately the roster decisions are Robert Kraft's, because he's going to decide whether he signs the check or not. So the guys can do whatever they want. If Kraft says no, there's nothing they can do about it. But I'm going to ask you, is it Robert Kraft, or do you think at this juncture, Jonathan Kraft has more say when it comes to the construction of the roster from the owner's perspective than his dad?
I think Jonathan Kraft is a very powerful check on his father. That's how I'll put it. I don't think he yet has full control. I think especially in this sense, now that the Patriots are where they are, in other words, that year ahead of kind of where we thought they were. I think if Robert decided to be more ambitious and spend, he's not going to say anything. Conversely, if his father decides to be ultra conservative, he may not be able to sway him, but he may be like, Dad, come on, let's spend. So it's really hard to say, but I don't think it's quite there yet. I think it's close. I think Jonathan Kraft controls the day-to-day with the team right now. In other words, the 100-foot view. I think Robert Kraft still is the final check on the 1,000-foot view for the team.
0 for 3 on a Mike and Ray debate, because I think at the end of the day, it's still Robert Kraft. He is the owner. He signs the checks. It's his money. And when it comes to major financial commitments or franchise shaping moves, that authority ultimately runs through him. That said,
Yes.
I do believe Jonathan Kraft likely, as you said, has more influence than people realize. He's been deeply involved on the business side, as you said.
Yeah.
And really it's viewed as his future franchise. Like he has brothers and like siblings and their but
it's a brother, I think. They
Yeah.
have one more brother, yeah.
But it's Jonathan's franchise.
Yeah.
So while Robert Kraft probably makes the final call, it wouldn't surprise me at all if many of the philosophical and roster building decisions are heavily shaped by Jonathan's input. And
No, I
kind of like what we talked about with the front office, it feels less like one or the other and almost more like a coordinated approach with Robert holding the final authority, but Jonathan having that very strong voice in the room.
I agree. Yeah, totally agree on this, because I think a great example of this was, and I know a lot of people weren't paying attention to some of the minutia last year, but a lot of the behind the scenes things were very clearly controlled by Jonathan Kraft. I think the ultimate lever to oust Mayo might have been Jonathan Kraft, and that might have been as early as like mid-season. You know, there were reports that Jonathan was like very upset and voicing concerns as early as training camp as far as what was going on with Mayo. And that's when, to your point of a strong voice in the room that can really sway his dad with major decisions. And I think you saw it exactly there. More last season. I think Vrabel and his staff, obviously competent, proven, so there's less of a need for him to be there and be involved. But again, more last year when the team needed guidance, I think that was the role of Jonathan Kraft.
So if I can ask you a follow-up question to that.
Sure.
Do you believe... Okay, let me preface this, because for those of you who don't know who I am, I have a love-hate relationship with Robert Kraft because he's done a lot of great things for the organization. He kept them in New England. He did a lot of great things for New England. However, I always fear and feel that there are times that Robert Kraft interferes in the business operations more than he should. For instance, I hate when owners are involved in coaching decisions. If you're going to hire a general manager, which I know the Patriots don't have, but if you're going to have a position like that, allow him to pick his guy. I understand it's your money. Trust your staff. I talk about it at my job all the time. If my boss didn't, I'm a VP at my company. If my CEO didn't trust me to do my job, I wouldn't want to be the VP anymore, because how can I run my department when I'm always got the owner over me?
Right.
So what I get at is, does Robert Kraft, and this is all anecdotal, like we have no proof, this is all just what we believe from what we see. Is Robert Kraft the Jerry Jones type? Like, I'm just a fan and I'm going to make irrational fan decisions and I'm going to hire Gerard Mayo. And is Jonathan more of the, I'm a businessman and I can look at it for what it is, and I can separate that emotional side of me? He's all, I remember it was Jonathan Kraft who said, like, well, one day Tom Brady won't be the quarterback and it may not be his decision. If you remember when he said that in, I think, 2019, and that caused ruffles. But I think he was just basically saying, this is the Kraft's team, not Tom Brady's team. This is the Kraft's team, not Bill Belichick's team. We'll decide who's here and who's not. Do you think it's more, you've got the sort of old man who is the season ticket holder who just wants to see championships, and you got the other guy that's like, hey, we need to make money, we need to put a good product on the field? I'm sure Jonathan Kraft wants to win the Super Bowl, but he knows 6 or 7, 8 losing seasons, you're going to lose season ticket holders, you're going to lose merchandise sales, and I think he sees it from a business standpoint. What do you think?
I think it's that way with both of them. I think Robert Kraft is more of the fan, and again, like you said, purely anecdotal. I don't know. We know, or I should say, put it this way: we know far less about Jonathan Kraft as a viewership or a fan base than we do about Robert. That being said, I do agree with you. From what I've heard, is he is responsible for the business, so it is essentially his job to look at it like a businessman, right? Robert is the owner, is the fan, and I think if Jonathan wasn't there showing him, like, Dad, we can't spend $500 million on the roster every year, be like, oh, okay, you're right. You know what I mean?
Dad, your light tower costs us a fortune and it brings no value to the game whatsoever. Mike, if you were given a meeting with Elliot Wolf right now, and he asked you who is one player that the New England Patriots need to go out and sign for or go out and trade for, who is it?
Oh boy, this is tough. I've been rattling this around in my brain, and I'm sure if you asked me tomorrow and the day after, it would be different. It depends on what. Let's do a side of the ball right now, because I'm going to throw Max Crosby out of there.
I was going to do Max Crosby. So why don't I do defense? You do offense.
Okay. Let's do that. All right. So
do you want me to go first? Since I kind of
I thought you were gonna.
Sorry, yeah. I'll go. Yeah, I have my argument kind of teed up, because if I was sitting in front of Elliot Wolf, the name that I'm saying without hesitation is Max Crosby. He's proven. He's an elite edge rusher, and he's a kind of guy who can change the game on his own, and that's the type of defensive player I want to see on this team. Crosby's not a guy who just gets sacks. There's sacks guys out there, but he doesn't just get sacks. He brings relentless pressure play after play. He shows leadership on the defensive side. And and this is the most important piece to me. This is the Mike Vrabel. This is the Willie McGinnis, the Teddy Bruschi, the Dante Hightower. This is what I need. It's the leadership, and he has a tone-setting mentality. And that fits into exactly what the Patriots need and to exactly who Mike Vrabel is. And if you're serious about keeping the Super Bowl window open during the rookie deal of Drake Maye, if you are serious about going back, do not gamble with a development player at that position. Go out and get a difference maker. Crosby is in his prime. He plays with a nonstop motor, and he would instantly elevate this entire defense. He would make Christian Gonzalez, arguably the best cornerback in the NFL right now, the definitively best cornerback in the NFL because of the pressure that Crosby would get on quarterbacks. And if there's a single move that you're going to go all in on, that's the one, Max Crosby.
Yeah, I'm just going to repeat what I said the other day, like verbatim. You want to make Milton Williams better. You want to make Christian Barmore better. Or if I want to play along with the theme of like, let's, make the team more like affordable. If you want to move on from Christian Barmore, at that point, it's not going to matter. But as constituted, make Milton Williams better, Christian Barmore better, whoever, healthy Harold Landry better. That whole defensive line, that whole back end, that whole defense gets moved up to not just like top 5 defense. You're talking about top 1 or 2 defenses in the league. So I'll go offense. I'm going to surprise people a little bit here because everybody's probably going to expect me to say AJ Brown. I'm not going to go that route. A name came up this week, and I'm really intrigued by it. The Jacksonville Jaguars, there's some rumors that they may be looking to move on from Brian Thomas Jr. He was a first-round draft pick just 2 years ago. His first season with the team, very productive. I think it was something like 1,200 yards, 1,300 yards. I think if they traded for him, now I'm not going to say what you would be able to trade. I'm not going to get into the compensation. You guys can come up with that and tweet it at us in the context of, this argument. You keep Stephon Diggs, you trade for Brian Thomas Jr. on his rookie contract. You have the veteran receiver to continue to mentor that room. And all of a sudden, I think you've added potentially a number 1. You still have Stephon Diggs as your 1A. And now you have a receiver that Drake Maye can continue to grow with, because I think he's like 22 years old as opposed to like a 28-year-old AJ Brown who has a bad knee.
I'm so happy that you didn't say AJ Brown, because our whole next like half of the show is about AJ Brown. So this is perfect.
Yeah, I that's one I was looking at free agents because I knew we were going to have this conversation. I was like, what's going to be outside the box? That's why I wanted to throw away Max Crosby as well.
Disappointing that this isn't a lot like that. Where I know it's being broadcasted live right now, but as we said at the top of the show, if you're just tuning in, I am in the Dominican Republic as we speak. So Mike and I are recording this on Friday night, 2 days or 3 days before we go live. This would have been a fun night to start pulling up the chat, because I think this would have been a really interesting conversation. So make sure you guys are putting in the chats, and if you're watching the replay, make sure that you hit the comments, because really, really interesting conversation. And that brings us to our second part of the show, which is Brown versus Pickens, and looking at a Patriots trade target. And obviously, I know Pickens technically is a free agent, but he's a restricted free agent. More than likely, they're going to put a franchise tag on him. So either you're going to spend a lot of money, or
I don't think they can. I think the deadline was yesterday. I'll look that up while you talk, just to
Mike,
see.
for the sake of the conversation right now and what I prepped, we're going to talk about it as if we can't.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, because otherwise we might as well say, tell me about those Patriots. You say they're a legit kid, and we hit the exit, because I have nothing else prepped for this show.
See ya.
All right, so here's what I wrote about this. It says, there's no hiding the truth. The New England Patriots need a true number one receiver to unlock the full potential of their young quarterback, Mr. Drake Maye.
Yes.
Now, two names that keep popping up when fans and analysts talk about solutions, it's A.J. Brown and George Pickens, and each brings a different but compelling case. Now, I do want to say, I use 3 different AI tools to scan social media to see who are the players that Patriots fans are talking about the most, and it's Pickens and Brown by a country mile. Like these are the two that fans are talking about.
Makes sense. It's receiver.
Yes. Yeah. It's also 2 names that you pointed out to me.
Yep.
And so it all tied in and made sense.
Yeah.
Let's start with AJ Brown.
Sure.
He's a proven star at the highest level. Brown is the kind of alpha receiver defenses have to game plan around. He moves the chains, wins contested catches, and instantly becomes a focal point of any passing attack. And rumors have swirled that the Eagles might consider moving him this offseason as they reset their roster after a frustrating postseason exit. At some point, I would like to do a postmortem of the Philadelphia Eagles and how things just completely fell apart in Philadelphia. Yeah. But for now, for the Patriots, Brown would be a plug-and-play wide receiver 1 and give Drake Maye the kind of pop and talent most young quarterbacks need early in their careers. And I want you guys to think about Stephon Diggs in his prime and what he did for Mr. Josh Allen in his development. His contract is big. It's a 3-year, $96 million extension that carries a significant cap implication. But the impact would be immediate, and I assume the Patriots could work something to get Philly to eat some of that cap. Now, let's look at George Pickens. He isn't a free agent today. He's finishing his rookie deal with Dallas, and the Cowboys are expected to use the franchise tag. And apparently they're not, but for the sake of this conversation, they are, because it has to be a trade, Mike, to keep him because I read a lot about how Jerry Jones was hoping to get a Micah Parsons type of trade for George Pickens, which is why I thought they would have slapped the tag on him. And the tag would be about $28 million, obviously. Look, I'm just going to bring it from here because an entire paragraph is wasted now. Pickens brings big playability, size, and explosiveness that can change games vertically and force defenses to respect every throw. His youth and upside mix with established production to make him a tantalizing target if New England were able to pursue him later in free agency or convince Dallas to move him via trade. Oh, I did set it up that it could be via trade or this. Yay for me.
Good for you.
All right. So what would it take? A deal for Brown would probably cost a first-round pick and additional assets. I did a lot of research on this, and this was sort of the consensus. Yeah. I know originally you kind of threw at me maybe a couple seconds, but it says first-round pick, additional assets.
Yeah.
when you think about his elite status and his contract, that's what it's going to cost. Pickens would likely cost a second-round pick or similar compensation if Dallas were willing to trade him while tagged, which obviously doesn't matter anymore. But both options solve the same big problem, adding a game-changing receiver in New England. But they both do it in different ways. Yeah. Brown brings the star power and immediate credibility. Pickens offers rising star upside and long-term flexibility. Yeah. Obviously, it's something that we'll watch. And Pickens and Drake Maye could grow together.
Yeah.
So, Mike, I'll start you off with this question and make it nice and easy. If you had to decide right now, would you rather see the Patriots make a move to get A.J. Brown or make a move to get George Pickens?
I would rather, and it's tough. Like, I am 49-51 on this, and I'll explain why, obviously. I would still go for A.J. Brown. Has familiarity with Mike Vrabel, would come in, fit that culture immediately. He's older. Obviously, there are some red flags with A.J. Brown, right? Injury, is he on the decline? Things like that. The thing that, you hit it spot on. He is a number one receiver that's not, well, is he a 1A like Stephon Diggs now? If he is completely healthy, he is your field stretcher. As far as the compensation is concerned, you set it up perfectly. I'm going to be conservative in the sense that I'm going to give more in hypothetical trades and hope that the Patriots behind the scenes can get a little less. As far as the cap hit is concerned, even if they acquire him, they're going to find a way to work that contract out. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I thought you were queuing something up.
Well,
Sorry.
I'm going to give my argument, but if you're not done, please continue.
Yeah, so there's one other piece to this, and I'm just going to say, again, very close on the two. I don't trust George Pickens. He quits in big spots. He quit on the Dallas Cowboys like mid-game last year. I remember watching the game, and he was just clearly like, oh, I'm not getting the ball on some of these plays, and was just kind of loafing around, like very clearly was like F this at halftime. So he's a little bit of a quitter. And frankly, like the Steelers, who love them some troubled wide receiver, were just like, nope, like we're done with you. And I don't doubt that Mike Vrabel could get him to buy in, at least in the short term, like make it sound really good, get him to buy in like the first 6 months. But like, what happens if they start losing, or if Drake Maye gets hurt, or 2 years down the road? So if your argument is, oh, well, you only have A.J. Brown for 2 years, I might only have George Pickens for 2 years before he goes off the rails. So that argument doesn't really matter to me.
And then the Patriots are stuck with a whole bunch of dead cap because they had to move him for a third-round pick and eat cap because they can't stand the kid anymore.
Right.
If they go with Pickens.
Right.
It's almost like the Stephon Diggs signing in a way, because there's a lot of people now, especially with his legal troubles, that are saying maybe it's time to move on from Stephon Diggs. We all know Stephon Diggs never leaves a team under good circumstances. It's always under bad blood. Wouldn't it be beautiful just for our last memory of Stephon Diggs to be, got Drake Maye to his first Super Bowl and got over 1,000 yards and beat up on the Buffalo Bills, but he could come back and next year be the number 2 receiver on this team, be upset by the amount of, least amount of targets. Now, if anybody is hoping, any of the old school fans are hoping to see the Ray and Mike battle like we did with Julio Jones a couple of years ago, you're not going to see it, because I'm leaning towards A.J. Brown as well. Look,
oh boy, we're hitting it on all cylinders tonight.
He's already proven to be a true number 1 receiver. He's proven to play in the big moments. I'm sorry, the New England Patriots haven't had that since Randy Moss as a receiver. Not even Julian Edelman would you look at and say that's a true number 1. We haven't had that explosive, true number 1 big play player at receiver since Randy Moss. You could argue Gronkowski, but he's a tight end.
Right. Just different.
That kind of certainty is too hard to pass up on when you're trying to accelerate a rebuild around a young quarterback, because they are still in an acceleration on this rebuild.
Yeah.
What happened last year should have happened this year, and what happens this year should have happened next year. But because of the Super Bowl, you now have to go. Brown brings physicality, leadership. More importantly, Mike, he brings instant credibility. And do I say in my same argument with Max Crosby, he can be a tone setter for the offense.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Pickens is incredibly talented, but I have to question a team and a receiver who can't play for Mike Tomlin, because you think about the Jujus, Mapletron, Brown, all those just receivers that came out of the Mike Tomlin coaching tree, who got chance after chance after chance after chance, and even he couldn't stand Pickens.
And let's be honest with George Pickens for 1 minute too. He did play a couple games this year without CeeDee Lamb and looked like a number one receiver on the field. So I'm not trying to take a ton away from him, but it's really easy to look good when you have a true number one receiver on one side and a true number one receiver, or at least like a 1A plus on the other side, which is that just levels up the whole game, right?
I think that Pickens is ascending.
Yeah.
And I think he's very close to being a number one, but I think with AJ Brown, you know exactly what you're getting. And that reliability is just too tough to turn down, Mike. Now, I want to ask you, let's talk about it, okay?
Sure.
How much is too much to trade for a number one receiver?
I mean, in the context of these two, or if they were to go get something like crazy, like
AJ Brown, I think is crazy.
I mean, I wouldn't give up like more than the first round this year. You could, and even the first round this year, like I said, I'd have a tough time parting with that, but it wouldn't be something that I would go like, absolutely not. You know what I mean? Like the Patriots would almost need to get something back to me if they gave up their first round pick, like one of those stupid, like, okay, I'll give you 31 and give me like a fifth back, something like that. And I'm not giving them a player at that point either, unless they want like Keyshawn Booty. I don't know.
I think when you are trading a player because somebody approached you and offered just outrageous compensation, and you're like, man, throw in another first and I'll do it. That's one thing. When you look at the AJ Browns of the world, I don't know if you've seen off the cuff what the Raiders are going to be asking for Max Crosby. They're not going to come close to getting that compensation package. And you're not going to come close to getting what AJ Brown is worth, because everybody all 31 other teams in the NFL know AJ Brown, you want him off your books and you want to be able to start retooling without him.
Yeah.
So for me, too much is if the Patriots were to sacrifice multiple first-round picks.
Yeah, and that's not on the table for him.
Or any key young players, just for one receiver. And I agree with you. There should not be a player attached to it. I think the 31st overall pick should be able to land you AJ Brown.
Yeah.
No matter how. Let me finish my argument, Mike.
Sorry. Go ahead. I'm excited.
It doesn't matter how talented he is, okay?
Yeah.
I think sometimes, too, though, as a Patriots fan, we don't truly appreciate what a true number one receiver is, because we've never really had one except for Randy Moss.
Yeah.
But Tom Brady is not the Patriots quarterback anymore. Drake Maye is. So having a true number one wideout, especially for a young quarterback, is phenomenal. But you can't gut the future to fix one position. If the price climbs to 2 first-round picks or more, Elliott Wolf should walk away. Yeah. A top receiver needs to elevate your roster, not leave holes everywhere else.
Yeah, and we can combine this with your Max Crosby argument a little bit too. I think he's actually worth a little more than the first overall pick. I think that or the 31st overall pick, like that's a situation to me where you could say like, okay, we'll throw in like a third next year or even maybe a second if they were to send like a little something back to you because of
Like
the
a
way
fifth?
that, yeah.
Like
But
Crosby in a fifth for a first and a second.
yeah, something like that. Again, like don't at me in the comments because you like go crazy. Again, I don't love to get into the minutia for that reason. But back to AJ Brown. Again, this isn't a circumstance where they're going to want multiple firsts. And if for some reason it did approach that, I'd be like, listen, I'm going to go find somebody else. Like Brandon Ayuk is going to be a reclamation project this year. That's going to be a risk. They took the risk on Diggs this year. If it was 2 first-round picks, it's like, okay, I'll go take the risk on the guy with the busted knee again for a year type of thing. You know what I mean?
If you started hearing rumors that Chase was available,
Jamar Chase.
yeah, how much are you willing to give up for him?
So that's different to me too, because then
I know, because that's the cream of the crop.
Yeah, you're talking cream of the crop.
You're bringing in Randy Moss to be on your team in his prime.
In his yeah. See, then that's the problem because then it would be I wouldn't give up 3 first-round picks because it like then the Patriots like you'd be scavenging in other places, but you could convince me to give up like the 31st this year, the first next year, and then that's when I would be like, oh, they need defense really bad. Like here's Christian Barmore. You know what I mean? Like that to me would be fair because again, you're just talking about a totally different level at that point.
Okay, let's go back to Pickens and Brown.
Sure.
Who gives you the better value over the next 5 years? Want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say because I'm kind of on the fence with this.
So when you're talking about value over the next 5 years,
yeah,
even with his attitude issues, I'd probably say George Pickens gives you the better value. He's younger. He's still ascending. I don't think we have seen the best of George Pickens yet, and his prime is still in front of him. Yeah. If he continues developing, you could be getting elite production during his peak seasons rather than paying him for his past performances, which is what you're doing with AJ Brown. AJ is the more proven player right now, but 5 years is a long window in the NFL. Age, contract size, wear and tear, they all start to matter in 5 years. And from a long-term roster building perspective, I think Pickens feels like the investment with more runway.
Yeah, I have to agree there, definitely. And that's kind of where I was like kind of stammering a little bit because when you talk about value, if we're going to talk about absolute upside, if you got George Pickens in the program, if you got him to be a Vrabel guy, and I said 2 years before, let's say if he gave you 3 to 4 years, let's up that window slightly. Even after that window, you're probably going to be trading him for something of value. It may not be something extreme, but at that point, you're talking about AJ Brown just being done, like retired. And the thing that worries me and why I'm skeptical on AJ Brown altogether to begin with is the salary he's going to demand. And there are some troubles with his knee. So I want to know, did he kind of quit last year because the team kind of stunk and he knew it? And he's been unhappy there for 2 years, or has his knee been bothering him and isn't going to get better, a la Julian Edelman?
So one area the Patriots completely struggled with all season, and I feel like it's been a struggle going back to Tom Brady's final season in New England. That's the red zone. The Patriots struggled in the red zone.
Yeah.
Who gives the Patriots the better chance to fix the red zone, AJ Brown or George Pickens?
Oh, boy.
So for me, as you think about your point, because I had time to prep for these questions, obviously.
Yeah.
If it's me and you're trying to fix the red zone right now, I'm leaning towards AJ Brown because of his size, his strength, his ability to win those contested catches, make him a nightmare in tight spaces when that window shrinks, and that, more importantly, the timing needs to be perfect, Mike, because that's what you need in the red zone. He can box out defenders. We've seen it. He can make those tough grabs through contact, and he can convert when everyone in the stadium knows the ball is going to him. That's the kind of player he is. Everybody knows they're going to pass the ball to him, and yet he can still make the plays. Pickens absolutely has the body control. He has the catch radius. He can be dangerous inside the 20s as well. But Brown's track record, his high leverage scoring situations gives me more confidence that he's going to immediately raise the bar of the Patriots touchdown percentage inside that red zone. Because I'll reword the question for you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
4th and goal, Pickens on one side, AJ Brown on the other. Who do you want Drake Maye throwing the football to?
Who do you want Drake Maye throwing the football to? And it's kind of a loaded question because my name is going to be the guy that I have more familiarity with that's proven. So I'm going to say AJ Brown. But honestly, because you said ascending, and I don't think their body type is that different, it's still tough. I'm going to go with the guy who's more well-known. Like you said, done it in the big spots. He's been in the Super Bowl and made big catches. But I don't think it's that far off to say, like, it's going to be a make or break either.
All right, final question around this, and then we'll wrap up this show.
Sure.
Both players play in good football towns. Pickens played in 2 good football towns. As much as I hate Steelers fans, and Lord knows I hate Steelers fans, Pittsburgh's a good football town. They know their football.
They do.
Dallas, Texas, good football town. They know their football. Philly, no offense to my friends here in Boston. Not here. I'm in Canada. No offense to my friends here in Toronto. No offense to my fans there in Boston. I don't think there's a more passionate fan base and I think Philly, if you are a Philly fan and you're from Philly and you play for Philly, there's no better fans in sports. And I think it's hard to argue that. Agree? Disagree?
Milton Williams said it best before the Super Bowl. He said Patriots fans are awesome. He said Philly fans will go get arrested and they won't care.
Yes, and that's exactly what it is. They're the best fans in sports if you're a Philly fan. If you're not, if you're one of the 31 other franchises or cities that compete against them, you're going to hate them. So with that being asked, who handles the Boston media pressure better? Because Boston media sucks.
AJ Brown. Not even close. Not even close. And that is actually a factor because that's what I was talking about when I said with George Pickens, the outside noise might become a problem that influences him. Whereas I think AJ Brown, again, is used to that program, is used to Vrabel. It would get used to the way things work around here really quickly. Really quickly.
AJ Brown played in Philly. It's one of the toughest and most demanding sports markets in the country. He's been on Super Bowl runs. He has Super Bowl expectations. He's been under nonstop scrutiny since the day he's been drafted when he wasn't getting along with Vrabel in Tennessee and then coming over to Philly.
Right.
I get it, George Pickens, Pittsburgh, Dallas, but you've seen him. Again, he quits on his teams. AJ Brown, he's used to answering the tough questions after big wins. He's used to answering the big questions after tough losses. He's used to dealing with an angry fan base because we know what the Boston fan base can be like with a player if they have a bad game. Philly's probably 30 times worse. Brown feels, to me, more battle-tested in those high-pressure environments. Experience like that matters, and I think that when the spotlight is the brightest in the city of champions, AJ Brown would handle it just perfectly.
Yeah, 100%, 110%, and that's when I said 49-51. That's like the 1%, and it's a big 1% that would just tip it over for me.
So, Mike, do you like how I actually set up a format for the show and prepped?
I did. I liked it.
You like that we're kind of back to the old school where I actually did some research and I formatted and I prepped and I got ready? I mean, I missed something really big with the franchise tag, but I really don't care.
No, you didn't. I looked it up. It must have been the what's the other tag they use? They can use another tag. I think that went by this week because the thing that I looked up said March 3rd. So they still have like 2 weeks.
Perfect. So you made me look stupid. It's okay.
No. I made me look stupid.
So that was my prep stuff. Now it's time for us to go a little bit off the cup. We have about 6 minutes left. There's no chat to go to, so let's do a little bit of off the cup. Talked about this over chat with you. We've never really, I don't know if we mentioned this last week. If we did, it was very brief because I know we rattled through like 30 subjects in the last 3 minutes of the show last week trying to get to things.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're doing a postmortem for the Super Bowl, so there's a lot of questions that we wanted to get to. But have you seen this unity on X and social media between Chiefs fans and Patriots fans? Like the two most recent dynasties coming together with just and bonding over the general hatred of Bills Mafia and Bills fans?
So I think I sent you a thing on this, and I was like, I can't believe myself right now. And this Chiefs fan completely articulated, like totally 100% on the money, was like, what is the Bills Mafia talking about? Saying like they could have made it, they would have been better, the Patriots were frauds, and just exposing the fallacy that it continues to be the Buffalo Bills, in the sense that, first of all, you lost to the Patriots. Like, we split with you. You lost sooner in the playoffs. Like, I don't want to hear this.
I don't understand. Okay, I'm going to go back to the Patriots' last Super Bowl championship.
Mm-hmm.
My boy, the Brit Chief, great Kansas City Chiefs content creator, by the way. Mm-hmm. Actually got to know him because Tyson and I were beefing during the 2019 season, if you recall, Mike. And then his name is Brad. Him and I talked it out. Yep. Him and Tyson talked it out. Now we're all boys. Tyson and I say it all the time. Brit Chief's the only Chiefs fan that we can stand.
That's awesome.
Great guy. Emmy winner, by the way. Emmy winner.
Oh, wow.
Did you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
So the Legion of Zoom. Remember the Legion of Zoom?
Yeah.
He's the one who coined Legion of Zoom.
Really?
Yeah, it was Brit Chief. So they did a documentary about the Legion of Zoom, and he got interviewed in the documentary about how did you come up with it. And basically he was like, well, they had the Legion of Doom or Legion of Boom in Seattle. Yeah. He's like, and I'm sitting there watching how fast, McCole Hardman and Tyreek Hill and how fast these guys were. And I came up with the Legion of Zoom. Anyways, that documentary won an Emmy, and because he was in it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you go to his page and he's broadcasting, he has his Emmy like behind him. So
that's awesome.
And I think he has it in his profile too, Emmy winner, which is amazing.
You got that little thing back there too.
Newsbreak Video Creator of the Year.
Yeah, there you go.
That's my pride and joy. That's my YouTube button. Yeah. Screw the rest of you.
We'll get you a button.
You know what's funny? What's funny about that though? So I won that in
21.
Yes. Thanks, Mike. I won that in 2021. 2021 top video creator of the year. And 14,000 video creators, by the way. Like, that's not like, I'm proud of that award. I'm very proud of that award. Won that in 2021. That was when TikTok started sending out the TikTok buttons.
Yeah.
And they literally, Newsbreak tried to make that look so much like the TikTok button. It's crazy. But that's one of my prides of that was because that was like, that had nothing to do with Crier, nothing to do with Sportscaster. Like, that was like my own little side, nothing to do with Connor. Like, that was like my own side venture that I went off on my own to do and won. Anywho, Brad, thank you though, Mike. I love when you make it about me. You know that. Yeah,
I know. That's what secretly this whole thing is fueling Ray's ego.
Yes. The most fragile ego in sports broadcasting, by the
way. Good stuff.
I have a 7-year beef with Doug Kyde. He doesn't remember who I am. But
he will eventually.
But I remember, anyways, back to Super Bowl, whatever it was, when they 53. Was it 53? Yeah. And he tweets out during the Super Bowl, this is what happens when two shit teams play in the Super Bowl. And I think the game was like 3-0 at that point. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I DM'd him because like our beef was over by this point. I DM'd him and I was like, hey, dude, I'm like, just as you're starting to build momentum and credibility, if the Patriots are shit, what does that make Kansas City? Because they beat them to get there.
Yeah.
And he wrote back to me, never thought about that. And he's never made a comment like that ever again. Right?
Yeah.
Because so Bills fans, again, who split the series, who came second in the AFC East, who lost to Denver, who then lost to the Patriots the next week, to sit there and go, well, if we played Seattle, we would have. First of all, they say we all the time as if they have anything to do with what happens on the field. And number two, yeah, you want to win the Super Bowl? Go ahead. And shout out to the Chiefs Kingdom, who's just totally uniting to see the ridiculous. And you know what? And the flock, the Ravens flock has kind of joined us as well. It's really just three great football franchises, Super Bowl champions, MVPs, historical players teaming up.
Franchises, like
just talking to the peons of the NFL. But that is it for us. Thank you so much. We'll be back live for real next week. Mike, tell me about those Patriots.
They're gonna be legit, kid.
Dear Pats Nation, it's just about time. Yeah, we're back. You know it's Dear Pats Nation, nation, nation.